compromising.
So do I.
Yeah.
What would you like to have seen happen after the election?
To be honest with you, the left won the election. The Lib Dems and Labour won the election. They had the majority, I'm afraid. There's nothing I can do about that. That's a fact.
Max Hastings, would you think that had been the right answer? The left had more votes
It's a very
than the
difficult
right?
one. There's no doubt, whichever way you look at it, the Tories did not achieve victory, because in the end they were only able to raise their vote against an enormously unpopular government and unpopular Prime Minister by 4 percentage points. And it doesn't seem to me that anybody who looks honestly at the election result can say that this was a triumph for the Tories.
OK. Alastair Campbell.
It wasn't a triumph for Labour, right?
Well,
Alastair Campbell.
I mean, you're right that the Labour Party and the Liberal Democrats put together may have got more votes, but the seats didn't add up. I was with Gordon on the morning after the election, and obviously, as people know, there were the discussions about the various permutations there might be. And that was the big problem. The Liberals plus Labour didn't add up, and even if you then started getting the smaller parties and so forth. And I think that, I'm not sure I agree with Piers about this thing falling apart very, very quickly, because I think that David Cameron, I'm intrigued by David Cameron, because I think one of the reasons he didn't win the election is because people in the public were unsure what he wanted to do with the country, and the people in the Conservative Party are still unsure what he wants to do with the Tory, with the party. And I think the reason John Redwood is getting involved, and David Davis and the Brady Bunch and the rest of them, is because they're just putting down a marker that if you think you're going to use this coalition to take our party to a place we don't want to go, then we're not going to let you. And he then, I think, will find that he doesn't have the support that he needs.
Just briefly, before we go on to another question, Alastair, did you advise Gordon Brown to stand down, as one reads, in order that there could be a Labour-Lib Dem coalition?
No, there was what happened was that Gordon was talking to lots of people within the Liberal Democrats. I think Nick Clegg would be very interested to know some of the people he was talking to, and they were greatly encouraging Gordon to get into some sort of negotiation with the Liberal Democrats.
Who was he talking? What are the names and the pack drill?
Lots of people.
Well, give us one or two prominent ones. Vince? Anyone beginning with V?
V?
Yes.
Could be V.
Could be V with a surname beginning with C, VC.
Could be VC, yeah.
Right. Thought it might be. Any others you want to have a go at?
No,
just give us the initials will do. P.A.
S.H.
P.A., yes.
P.A. was there too, right?
Yeah.
Vince Cable, Paddy Ashdown.
I think that
C.H.
D.D. not there. You weren't
No,
there.
I wasn't there, no. I was doing the commentary.
S.H. I think was there, wasn't it?
Right, anyway.
No, so
did you want to see that happen, a coalition of Labour and
I didn't think it
Democrats?
would happen. I didn't think it was going to happen. I think the Liberal Democrats had made the decision quite early that they were going to do this with the Tories. And the reason why I don't agree with Piers that it's going to collapse quickly is because I think they've now got a lot of vested interest in making sure that it works. What will happen over time, as Max says, we're at the sort of lovey-dovey stage. This policy stuff, education, where every Liberal Democrat's been out there talking about local authorities and the need for them to be properly involved. They've got totally different agendas on some of the public service proposals. I do think Vince Cable, somebody put on my Twitter page the other day that Vince Cable is beginning to look like a Burnley fan who finds himself in the Blackburn end. And I think that's, he looks totally out of place. He is not enjoying his new bedfellows.
OK, on that football analogy, which not everybody will understand, let's move on, you of course will, to a question from Diane Grist. We've only got a few more minutes. Diane Grist, please.
Is entrapment journalism, such as we have seen with Sarah Ferguson, in the public interest?
Piers Morgan.
I think it is. I edited the News of the World. I don't think they did anything wrong. They were acting on information that the Duchess of York was using her position to get people access to Prince Andrew, who is obviously very important for trade in this country as an official job. And I think they behaved entirely responsibly. The one who didn't was Sarah Fergie, who I know very well. I've been a friend of hers for 20 years. I love her dearly. She's naive. I haven't sucked her toes, but they are actually, they're very nice toes. And if I had the chance, I probably would.
Can we try and keep a modicum...
Sorry, that was my fault.
Of decency.
On me.
It may be after 9 o'clock, but we do have high standards.
Sorry, David. It was Alastair's fault. But I think
most things usually are. So
yeah, exactly.
Yes,
exactly. But I think that there is an important point there, which is that the royal family, when she divorced Prince Andrew, gave her $15,000 a year and a room in a house, and she is the mother of the 5th and 6th heirs to the throne. Now, I think if you're going to do that, and whichever the best intentions were laid down, and maybe she encouraged them because she wanted to stay close to the Queen. I've heard all the arguments. The reality is she doesn't have any money. she doesn't have a pot to whatever she said in. But the reality is she needs money. She's got to look after those girls.
So you can understand it, but you're in favour of her being trapped.
She wasn't trapped.
Entrapped.
She was not trapped.
Entrapped.
She was exposed for what she was doing, and it was wrong.
Brief answers from everybody, please, because we're coming towards the end of our time. Max Hastings.
I hate stings. I just feel instinctively everything about stings makes me feel creepy. And a lot of what the News of the World does often makes me feel creepy. But
well,
it has to be said...
what you used to do on Telegraph made me feel creepy too.
It has to...
There we are. And by the way, you used to take all our creepy stuff and put it all over pages 1, 4, 5 and 6. Right, yeah. So I won't take any hypocrisy from you, Hastings. Sorry.
Let me finish. But...
You've forgotten now what we're talking about.
in this case, they got Fergie banged to rights, and she has to take the consequences.
Okay.
And it's hard to argue that it's in the public interest, but it is certainly a lot of interest to the public.
John Redwood, in public interest?
I don't like it, but I don't want to ban it. It happens in journalism. I think my general point would be that everyone should know that if they want the services of a member of the royal family to promote trade or help their company, if they want services of an MP, those are free services. You're paying for them all already, so there's absolutely no need to think that palms have to be crossed and cheques have to be signed. And it is a bit surprising that people fall for this kind of thing when these services are free if you go through the proper channels.
She thought they would fall for it. They didn't fall for it because they were News of the World's journalists.
You know, I'm saying it's just odd that people don't get this idea that these are very good free services if you go through the proper channels.
Susan Kramer.
Well, I mean, after all the parliamentary expenses scandal and trying to get a new start, I just totally disheartening. And this was, Sarah Ferguson is the one royal I thought was real, you know, who had gone through a rough time, put her life back together, and I rather admired for it. And I feel rather disillusioned now. So let's hope this isn't the way that our royal family really behaves, because I don't think as a nation we can deal with that on top of the way Parliament and politicians have behaved.
Alastair Campbell.
I thought it was pretty squalid, and I ended up
of her or the News of the World?
The whole thing, and I ended up feeling...
Well, both sides?
Yeah, and I ended up feeling a little bit sorry for her. The entrapment that I sort of objected to, because I didn't really see the public interest, was the one of David Treisman at the Football Association, where, you know, trying to get the World Cup bid, I don't know whether it will be affected, but it might be detrimentally affected by the fact that a conversation is secretly recorded where he says one or two bit silly and indiscreet things. Was that really worth leading to his forcing him out of that job at that time? I don't think so.
OK. I'm sorry, a number of you got your hands up, but we've come to the end of our time, so we've got to stop.
By the way, I brought a cabinet minister with me. There's the man who should have been here, Mr. David Laws. No bottle, new Bond villain.
And you had a supporter of the coalition who's been proud to support it, because I think a lot of people do want this government to succeed. Right. We've got a huge mess to clear up, and it needed someone to stand up to do that.
I shall play John Bercow to all this and say our time's up for question times. We're going to be in Brecon next week, and we've got Diane Abbott, one of the challengers on the panel for the leadership of the Labour Party. That's Brecon next week. We're going to be in Plymouth the week after that. Now, if you'd like to come either to Brecon or Plymouth, the usual number 0871 626 9988, or you can, of course, apply on our website. Thank you all on the panel, and thank you for coming here to Gravesend to take part in the programme. Until next Thursday from Question Time, good night.
Stay with us here on BBC One for this week, and there's a new dynamic duo snuggling up on the sofa, David Davis and Hazel Blears.